Semper Fi Softers, and welcome to the day.
And today we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. VFA himself, Freddy. How are you?
Right.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome. So today the main topic is going to be redacted. May 2nd through the 4th in Alabama. Mount Vernon, right?
Yeah, Mount Vernon is the very small town that this AO lies on the outskirts of. So it's just north of Mobile.
Yeah. If you look at the Google Maps version of it, this AO that you've picked looks like a town itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a huge medical complex. Was the last purpose of what the AO was used for, was a medical complex. Before that was Mount Vernon Arsenal. So it was a military barracks that dates back to 1800s. So this AO is like almost 200 years old.
So it's essentially a piece of history.
Yeah, 100%. And like that's one of the things that we try to bring into our events is history, nostalgia. You know, coming off of Six Flags, that was such a huge nostalgic event that we're like, oh, okay, we got to find an AO. This one came on and it was like Hail Mary. That's what it was. Yeah. We threw up a huge Hail Mary and they answered. But yeah, you're looking at the map and it's a small village. You know, I'm excited to talk about the AO.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and hop right into the AO with what we can get right now. I know we're still early stages of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just get into what we can. Are most of the buildings going to be playable?
All right, so yes and no. As far as going into buildings, if we actually understand this entire property, if you're looking at the map, everything in the center of the map is the Mount Vernon Arsenal. So those buildings are 200 years old. Mm-hmm. They're all registered on the National Historic Registry as a landmark, right? And so that leaves a lot of gray area on, you know, what the state's done with the place, what it plans to do with the place, and then the current state of these buildings. And we're not shying away from exactly what these Civil War era structures are. The roofs are blown out of them. The second floor is blown out of most of the multi-story buildings. But we have full maneuverability in and or around every single building. There will be some buildings that will be playable inside of that center section. But the majority of what we're looking for as far as indoor CQB plays is going to be three-story hospital complexes. And you can see those on the map. East wing, west wing, and then up north, there's a block building. The fourth building that we've identified as a building that we could play CQB and run missions out of is the very south building. Okay. So it's kind of got that four corners aspect to it. Multiple entryways, multiple stairways, multiple floors, and these buildings are sterile, meaning that the debris is low. Some of the buildings still have equipment in it, and there's no graffiti. The graffiti is almost non-existent because, unlike popular opinion, it's abandoned. It is not abandoned. It closed down in 2012, and it stays guarded and gated, and they've been able to keep a lot of the riffraff out. So damage is low, which is good. Usually we're playing in some pretty dilapidated areas where the indoor CQB is not going to be as bad as what most are used to. But yeah, these buildings are dilapidated, and you know the roofs are no bueno. But the approach, I think, moving from CQB building to CQB building, ability to play the terrain, I think will bode well with the players.
Now, is technicals going to be available here?
So no player vehicles. And then since we're doing no player vehicles, we're doing no launchables as well. This is strictly to pay respect and ensure that we keep this place exactly how we found it and not create any further damage. And it's never been played before. So to come out and, you know, run a helicopter, run vehicles, run aerial support, I think would be a rookie move. So it's going to be a ground foot battle, right? We're planning on bringing some Humvees in and some vehicles to do Frago missions and to cater to the VIP 50 that we gave tickets to, as well as collect some cool photos and videos of Humvees rolling around the property. But those will all be game side of the house. They'll all be strictly for purpose of moving troops from point A to point B quickly.
So, Siri Hospital, looking at the history of it, it's my understanding that there's an actual like prison wing attached to this.
Yeah, so that's another misconception. This was never never a prison. When it was turned over to the state in 1901, it was a mental facility for the colored insane, is what they called it. And it stayed segregated until 1968, where it desegregated. But yeah, it was never a prison. It just housed mental, patients with mental health. But probably more to the severe side, which is why it gets the rap that it was a prison. Now, there was a prison wing for the Native Americans, and so back in Civil War era, Geronimo and the Apache people were kept there. But again, they weren't considered locked up behind bars. There's no, there's nothing like that on this site. It's a hospital facility.
So essentially, it's going to be a very spooky encounter for night missions.
Yeah, for all of you guys that are like into that third world stuff, yeah, you guys are probably going to have fun. Your brains will play to your imagination, and you'll see some stuff. With us running special effects, pyrotechnics, extra smoke, extra fog machines, lighting and stuff, we plan to really turn sections of the hospital into a lot of fun. And so whenever you get like that eerie smoke in hallways, it does funny stuff. So yeah, they say this is one of the most haunted sites, and it's got unmarked graves from the Native Americans, which is part of the reason that they can't do a lot of construction, is because these sites have yet to even been found.
Yeah.
We're not going to be walking on any graves. I promise you that. We were on site, me and the ops team, David and Joey, shout out to those guys. We went on site, and at first, just like everything else, just like Six Flags, we're like, all right, let's get a handle on our emotions and let's actually figure out what we got. And when they took us in the first building, we all looked at each other and we're like, we could play 150, 200 players just this building alone. And then they showed us another building, and we're like, holy cow, this one is laid out, exactly the same, except for there's not, 360 in the building. It's like an L wing. And then we went into the third one, same thing. And then we identified that fourth building, which is a 1-story that's got some office space. But we wanted to be able to say, hey, what exactly do we have here? Because when we approached the state, they were kind of like, what do you want to do? Like, big question mark. And you kind of got to be careful how we explain it, because if you listen to airsofters talk about what we do, you've got a range of total shenanigans to like, wait, you want to bring a helicopter in? And that was kind of, they were like, wait, you want to do what? And then to get them to meet me on my vision level of what the milsim industry and what we enjoy as events, getting them to wrap their head around 300, 350 players coming on site, because they've never had that many people on site, I don't think, ever. It was a hospital facility. But yeah, here we are, man. I'm super stoked, and partnering with the Alabama Department of Mental Health is such a huge thing for our organization, because we've kept really quiet about what it is we truly believe VFA's mission is. And that's an approach to mental health. And so it's nice to come out and say, hey, like, we've got the track history showing what we do, where the funds go and everything. And now we're going to start pushing outside of airsoft to say, hey, we've got something here. If the VA is going to approve hog hunts out of a helicopter, we've got airsoft human hunts going on at Six Flags, you know?
Yeah.
And I talked to them a lot about the VR aspect. So the VA hospital and mental health is really dialed into the VR aspect of giving combat vets something deeper into healing. And through VR, they've been able to tap in and ganglion cyst blocks and different pharmaceutical approaches, the holistic approaches with mushrooms and MDMA and all of these things that, you know, the VA's rejecting as alternative therapies. It's like, hey, check out our activity, right? It'd be great to say that there is some 100% defined therapeutic approach. And I think if we worded it right, we could get there. But the reality is, man, just talking to your brothers, making new friends, having an experience that's all your own. Because whether we're in a squad or we're running the entire faction, you yourself have an experience. And as a combat vet, what we hear is, hey, man, I was able to tap into something I'd never thought I'd see again, feel again, smell again, touch again. The guys, you know, Curtis, the project that we worked on with Serious Viking of getting back the combat unit together to roll in airsoft, you know, you spoke on it, and there it is. You know, if we're looking for something all included, that's the most extreme thing adults could go out and do. Dude, we have it. This is it. The industry's got, you know, how serious do you want to take it, man? Because you can load up with backpacks and hit the trail. Or you can just, you know, the Camry does just fine in the parking lot, you know?
It's definitely therapeutic to do it, and especially getting around brothers that I was with and bring those guys back together and get to roll with them again, and then also getting to meet other veterans through your program and getting to see their experiences and getting to share similar experiences that we had. And that's a great part of what you do, is you're bringing people, veterans and combat veterans, back together and putting them in situations that are similar, not exactly, but similar to what they used to do. And that is a great step in the mental health section.
Yeah. I was talking to some people about, you know, you got things like the tactical games, the running guns, and they're like, well, what's the difference between that and, you know, getting together and doing the milsim? And it's like, well, everything else you can touch and feel the gear, right? You got the recoil and everything, but you're shooting at a target that's not shooting back at you. And the moment that happens, that's where we can lose ourselves, right? And the reality can get pitched this way or that way. And no, you can't recreate somebody's combat experience. But you could sure as hell scare the shit out of them with a grenade that'll make them think twice about where they really are. And that, I think that I've seen that more common than anything, is that surprised pop, or you getting shot in the back and all of a sudden you don't take it properly. You want to go around fucking headbutting everybody, you know. But and it happens, man. Like we could sit here and tell stories about guys who realized quickly, especially when we get into the CQB stuff, they realize quickly, like, oh crap, maybe I do got some deep-seated things that I didn't know existed, or yeah, maybe this isn't for me. And we see that too, you know, guys are like, yeah, dude, I don't know, I'm just not into it. And you're like, awesome, I'll see you on Thursday at bowling, brother.
Yeah, it's definitely a good push, and to be able to partner with the Alabama's Mental Health Association as well, and not only bring just one hospital, but hopefully future AOs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to push into the VA, you know, this could be a great stepping stone with Redacted to show them, hey, we're doing more than just playing airsoft.
Yeah, it's an event, you know. Even if you got the old timers that can't get kinetic with us, having them come to the site and check out the airsoft guns and all the gear. We saw them roll up to Milledgeville. And it's like, hey, that's awesome. We did the Jack's Airsoft Fest here at the museum on the USS Orlick, and watching the people, especially the vets, from different war eras before us, come down, and they're like, wait, what is it that you guys actually do? And then, like, once you explain it to them, they're like, we didn't know this existed. It's like, it's our modern day reenactment. It's just way more Call of Duty than Civil War era, right? So that's kind of the thing when they're like, well, what is it? It's like reenactment of modern war and Call of Duty come together, and here we are. We've got this unique environment where you can insert yourself into a live action video game.
That's right. So getting back into Redacted, what is a somewhat breakdown of the schedule going to be?
All right, so let me pull out the SOP. All right. And so this is, so if you've been to our annual charity game, we've always started our charity games on Friday. So Friday night is when we do opening ceremony, and then we launch the missions. And the reason we do that is we want you to dial into the event super early. We don't want you to dial into the event on Saturday morning. If you're coming in on Saturday morning, I promise you're not going to have the ultimate experience of the ticket. You're going to want to come on Friday. So gates open early. We open gates 2 hours earlier than most hosts. So 10 o'clock, the gates roll open. And then we keep those gates open until about 1800. And then we roll into our open ceremony. And then you're going to do Friday night's mission. Friday night's mission is always our way of dusting off, right? And saying, hey, let's go ahead and put more bodies on the field. Let's watch how things go. People shake out their gear. We have usually Friday night's a high attrition night because guys are like, crap, my gear went down. So this is a legit opportunity to fix your stuff for Saturday. Saturday morning, gates will open at 7. And then we'll do late check-in for those that didn't have an opportunity to come in on Friday. We do give you guys a 1 hour window on Saturday. We'll register you, we'll safety brief you, we'll chrono you, and then we'll push you out to your start X points. But that'll all happen after the main force has already started the battle, right? So there is kind of a handicap for folks that do arrive Saturday morning. Is you guys will be inserted into the event after the event has already started Saturday. So Saturday we start early. This we usually have everybody staying on site. We're not able to have any camping for the player base, which kind of sucks because we like the full immersion aspect. But yeah, you guys will be able to go home to your hotels, to your Airbnbs, shower. But come on Saturday ready to bang for the whole day. We keep our refit breaks short. And we go right back into mission planning, mission prep. So you get briefed before that window of mission of exactly what your mission is for that window. So our events allow everybody to come out and have the experience that they want, which is pretty much, hey, I just want to shoot my gun, look cool doing it. I want to play the AO. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. And we totally understand that as long as you're following the safety rules, and you're following the AO boundaries, like have fun in the AO. We'll have digital objectives placed strategically around the AO for you guys to cap and have your fun with that. But if you're dialed into your leadership, you're dialed into the mission set for that window, and you're dialed into the fragos that get dropped, you're going to have a ton of fun. And the more involved you are, the more of these missions, fragos you'll be able to go on. If you're looking at this AO, folks, there's 350 players on a cityscape with three-story hospitals. We could pack this AO, and I laughed because I was like, we could probably fit 800 in this. This is an 800-player AO, especially if we push out into the woods. But we don't know how bad the kudzu is. So if you're familiar with the kudzu, and And if I messed up its name, good, because it's a son of a bastard.
That's right.
It's gonna, we're gonna call it Operation Kudzu because, that's what's taken over the AO. So we're gonna push it back, and we're gonna bring, a small, medium, large, depending on what events you play, 350 into the AO to do battle for 2 days essentially, Friday through Sunday, and then Saturday you got a Saturday night phase, so you're getting two extended night phases with this event, and it's got everything, guys. It's got city, it's got indoor, it's got woods, it's got multi-level terrain. It holds the highest point in Mobile County is on site, which is the center of the AO. So the AO is kind of on a small hill pitch. So, start hydrating now. If you're expecting to come out and get what we delivered at Six Flags, that's not what our charity game is about. It's about the experience and gearing directly towards veterans, first responders, law enforcement. So more of a milsim push, a little bit more, hey, if you didn't read the SOP, you're going to have to go ahead and sit out, read the SOP, and then I'll come back and ask you 3 questions, and depending on how you answer these questions will depend on if you insert. And anybody who's served knows exactly how that is. You go to the armory and they're like, what's your 5th general order? And you're like, oh crap. Army guys are like, what, there's 5? No, so yeah.
Well, earlier you spoke on you're going to be bringing in pyrotechnics and illumination and smoke machines. For Six Flags, you brought in Echo 4 for blank fire. Is there going to be similar things happening at this AO as well?
Yeah, so Six Flags linked us up with a guy, Sunshine, who is our official, pyrotechnician. So we've got a guy who does pyrotechnicians professionally. We're brainstorming ideas. We've already made purchases. Blank fire will be there. It'll be staff run, which is another great experience where you can give to guys who actually did blank fire stuff in service. Will get an opportunity to run these. That's the biggest thing, safety wise, that we're going to push. So the mandatory items, right? It's like, what mandatory items do I need? Well, outside of your uniform and your kit, because if you don't have a kit, you're not going to have a good experience. Your player cards, so your med card's going to be on you, your dead rag and your red light. You're going to have your 2 milsim tourniquets, and then you're going to have Ear Pro. And so everybody will get issued Ear Pro because there are no safe zones. At Six Flags, we made the green zone no blank fire. So if you were sensitive to blank fire or that type of stuff, even though there were so many grenades going off in that zone, it was insane. Yeah, we want to make sure that you have your Ear Pro on. And you know what? If you want tinnitus and you want to claim, milsim issues with your hearing loss, hearing loss due to milsim 3M, here's your opportunity. We'll issue you guys foamies. I do recommend that if you have professional Ear Pro, that you bring them, wear them, and plan on having them for the duration of the event. We're putting a lot into the production value as far as special effects, right? There's no power on the AO. We're going to bring power to the AO. We're going to light it up. We did a lot of testing, first-time testing of stuff at Six Flags, and so now we'll have an opportunity to really expand on it. And so that's like the big thing with me and the team and the guys that I have is there's never a shortage of ideas, right? The idea fairy lives on everybody's shoulders, and if we all just shut up and listen to each other, we'd realize most of us are dreaming the same exact dream. It's not enough to just dream the dream. We got to actually figure out how to execute the mission. And most of us have run, military style training evolutions. Do you think those black hats put that much effort into those lanes? Hell no. They chose 1, 2, or 3 things, and then they executed it really, really well. Even night infiltration course, if you actually break it down, there's not that many moving parts. There's just a shit ton of moving bodies that can really screw up the evolution, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the big one in my head when I'm looking at how do we do things safely to be invited back. And so
Yeah.
I don't want to blow up Searcy Hospital in the essence of like, you know, a 5-minute fireworks show on Saturday night. But I definitely want them to know what the heck is going on at Searcy. And that's a 3-day milsim to benefit the mental health of veterans, military, first responders, and law enforcement. And I think that there's no better mission than that we're on. And the support has been amazing. And we're really excited for what we can capitalize on here at Searcy.
And lastly, and we'll move into the closing, but at Six Flags, you had staff spaced out to different bases, and they played both sides for whichever side was on their station. Is there going to be any craziness that the players can expect from staff?
Yeah, 100%. So one big difference with this is you're going to see more red shirts. At this AO, we got to have it's bigger ground property. Six Flags was very easy to control.
Mm-hmm.
It was already built to control human beings, and all we did was make sure that they were evenly spaced out. Are you going to see NPCs? No. But if you get into a Frago lane, you're going to know who they are and where they are and how they're going to impact the Frago lane. So we've got a big volunteer force and we've got staff, and so staff are going to rotate out. And that's the big thing is we want all of our volunteers to have an experience. From me being the top guy, I think it's unprofessional to play at your own events. But if you can run your own event so smoothly that it gives you an opportunity to insert into the event, 100% we're going to take it. And so that's what we're driving. And more to step up and volunteer and say, hey, I can help, because the more people that we have to help, the bigger duty roster is. And that definitely alleviates the watch bill. So yeah, there's going to be shenanigans, 100%. Friday night, the VIP are going to get thrown in a unique situation that should be interesting to watch and unfold. So yeah, stay tuned.
As the great saying is stay tuned. So with that being said, is there anything that's not on the stay tuned side that is a tidbit or special that you could give the listeners that are going to be watching this?
Yeah, when you come to this event, I want you to just forget about every other event. If we go to an AMS event and we compare it to a Third Coast event, or you go to a Centurion and you compare it to a Third Coast, or you go to any of your local hosts and then you compare it to the larger scales, we're doing these guys a disservice. They're spending time to think outside the box and deliver something that somebody else isn't doing. Nobody wants to be a copycat. Everybody wants, to see things well executed. Up there in Tennessee, you guys got a lot of guys coming to the table, some really great stuff. You got a Wild West event going on. You've got that post-apocalyptic storyline that Bush Wookiee's building, right? Mm-hmm. So there's all of these LARPing heavy aspects. And then you could go even so far as say, hey, Centurion's coming up in June. Let's LARP into that, because that pushes more of the combat simulation side, more realistic military. So when you come to VFA's game, know that you're going to get a military driven event for Redacted, just because of where we're bringing you. When you get on site, this isn't an abandoned facility. This is a piece of history that is living still and that we're going to activate and bring to life. This site hasn't seen soldiers since 1900. And now we're going to bring back vets to stomp on that ground again and bring it back to life. We're going to fill the hospital complexes with joy, laughter, and a hell of a lot of aggression. And, hopefully there's some energy clearing in there and people don't take home bad ghosts and stuff. But I think what we're really doing is exactly what we did at Six Flags, which is we're taking a piece of beat down property and we're going to bring it back to life. And I think that resonates with vets because a lot of us have been low and we've been down. And these events are kind of what allow us to come back up. And then when we get home, we start rebuilding. I mean, so many of the guys on the Iron Hawks, you know, they're building families, right? They're building their educations. They're getting careers. They're going to school again. It's really awesome to see how airsoft has definitely helped the veteran community. And our way to pay back is to find really cool, unique AOs that have history involved. And so this is a museum. It's a Civil War museum, and it's a modern day abandoned hospital complex that you're going to get to bang in. And when I say bang, I mean force on force, boom, like that, right? Just depending on how many Marines are watching that, where I'm all being criticized right now. But yeah, man, I think be there Friday, be ready to have fun, and you know, a unique experience. We're gonna bring leaders in. I've got planning pages already set. We do planning pages. Let's just wait till we get deep enough with our ticket sales. We had a great first drop this weekend. We're 25% sold out. We've got 42 of the 50 slots completely filled for VIPs. So if you're a veteran, hit me up because I got a free ticket for you. You can do that on veteransforairsoft@gmail.com, or you can get on our Facebook and message us there, and I'll get you linked up. 2 easy steps. And we're just going to have a ton of fun, you know, and hopefully nobody gets hurt. But I plan on seeing a lot of dead rags.
That's right. We definitely appreciate your time coming on and speaking with us. And I know I can't wait to be at Redacted and to see all the things that you've come up with. And I know a lot of people are going to feel the same way because they had that insane experience with one of your events at Six Flags. And there's definitely more to come than just what was at Six Flags.
Yes, sir. The experience is everything.
That's right. So as we always say, do what you love.
I love what you do.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Yeah.